What if the life that you've always dreamed of is waiting for you on the other side of fear? It sounds super exciting, right? But also absolutely terrifying. Hi guys, I'm Tony, and about 2 years ago, I did something that I never in a million years thought I'd do. I dropped my only child off at college. I quit my 9-to-5 job. I bought a 40-foot fifth wheel RV, and I hit the road to travel the US full time. It sounds crazy, right? I mean, I'm hearing myself say it, and I'm thinking, dang, that gal, she is crazy. Honestly, it's been terrifying, exhilarating, and absolutely everything in between. So today I'm sharing the why and the how I chose to put faith in myself and go after my dreams, even with that pesky fear gremlin looking at my brain the entire time. But here's the thing. This fear-busting, chasing dreams business, it isn't just about RV life. It's about whatever your unknown is, whether it's starting a business or making a big move or asking for a raise. The unknown is still the unknown, no matter what the choice is. It's the amazingness in the unknown that is different for each one of us. And I want to inspire you to leap into your unknown and finally reach that amazingness that you are so worthy of. Oh, and also, I spent the last couple of weeks creating a 7-day fear-busting workbook that I truly believe will help you tackle your own fears and take the steps to reach your unknown. So stick around and I'm going to tell you how to grab it. Let me set the scene for a minute. Just a quick minute, I promise. It was 4 months before my only child graduated high school and started planning her big grown-up adventure herself. Me, I'd spent over a decade as a single mom, working the same 9-to-5 job at a small business. Now, don't get me wrong, the people there were lifesavers during that chapter of my life. But honestly, there was zero room for growth. And my personal life, well, let's just say it was kind of like that movie Groundhog Day. Same apartment, same city, same friends, same routines, same restaurant, same gym for 10 years. 10 years. Now, I've considered myself to always be a planner. I need to know what's happening, when it's happening, and preferably how it's going to happen. In hindsight, though, I kind of wish I'd taken a few more big leaps during my daughter's childhood. And not just to shake things up for me, but to show her that life doesn't have to go exactly as planned for it to be amazing. The worst part, looking back, I don't really know what's harder. Regretting the chances that I know I missed, or realizing that there are opportunities that I missed without even knowing they were there at the time. That realization hits me hard every day. I've always felt like my life was meant for more. Although, to be honest, I still don't really know what more looks like. But in that moment then, I decided that I was done playing small. I started dreaming of freedom, traveling, creating art, spending afternoons in wineries, making friends, even maybe meeting my person. Basically, the exact opposite of what my life looked like at the time. But the truth, I was terrified of all of it. I was scared of being far from my daughter, scared of not having a job, scared of leaving behind the comfort of my home. And don't even get me started on figuring out how to buy, drive, and live in a house on wheels. Oh, and one more thing. I was totally scared of what other people would think when I told them my plans. But my biggest fear was definitely not knowing how it would all work out. Or even more importantly, if it would work out at all. Still, even with that fear weighing me down, I made a decision. I was done adding to my list of regrets. I dove headfirst into the unknown. And now, I can honestly say that I believe the most amazing things in life all happen there, in the messy, unpredictable unknown. And my mission is to inspire you to join me here in this crazy, fabulous world of all the unknowns. Because the reality is, life is short, and we may not ever get another chance to leap. So personally, that risk definitely outweighs any fears of something that I haven't even experienced yet. The truth is, the unknown is terrifying. Our brains love certainty, like a warm, cozy blanket. And the moment that we even consider stepping into something unpredictable, our brains freak the freak out. And for me, full-time RV life was the ultimate unknown. But I needed to do this. I needed to prove to myself and my daughter that no matter what happens, I'm either going to fail and quit, fail and learn, or just maybe, I will succeed and learn. Either way, I was sure of one thing. I was about to embark on the most epic chapter of my entire life. So I made a promise to myself. Quitting was never going to be an option. Instead of letting my fears stop me, I started to look at them as steps that I needed to take to make this dream happen. So like step one, the fear of leaving my comfort zone, leaving my home, the place I knew inside and out, it was scary. But it also forced me to declutter and to reevaluate what things in my world actually held value, and to get creative on how I wanted my new space to feel. Pretty soon, I was dreaming up how to decorate my tiny rolling home, and that part, it became so much fun. Step two, fear of losing my income. I'm gonna be honest, not having a steady paycheck was and still is a huge fear, but it's also lit a fire under me to get creative. I started experimenting with things I've always wanted to try, like setting up an Etsy shop and selling my art, and hey, starting this YouTube channel to inspire people like you to stop overthinking and just leap already. Step three, the fear of being far away from my daughter. This one was hard. This one stung probably the most, but instead of letting it paralyze me, I just started looking at Wi-Fi options so we could stay connected. Seemed easy. And now we talk even more than we ever did before, although still working on reliable Wi-Fi. However, shout out to Starlink for saving today at least. And by the way, if you're thinking about checking it out, I've got a link in the description below for a free month of service. So far, so good. And they are not sponsoring this video. I'm just saying. Step four, the logistics. Buying, driving, maintaining an RV felt like an impossible mountain to climb. I didn't know the first thing about any of it, but I just took it one step at a time, learning kind of as I went and totally laughing at myself the entire time. And trust me, if I can figure this out, so can you. And step five, the cherry on the top. What are people going to think? I'd spent so much of my life worrying about how others saw me. Would I be that woman who gave up stability for a wild, reckless midlife crisis road trip? But honestly, the scariest part wasn't any of that. It was not knowing how it was all going to turn out. Would I love it? Would I hate it? Would I regret it? Would I even last a week? My brain literally kept screaming, "You can't predict this! Abort mission, abort!" And that's the thing about the unknown. It's not just one big fear. It's like 1,000 little fears stacked on top of each other, whispering, what if you fail? What if you're not good enough? What if this goes horribly wrong? But here's what I've learned. The unknown isn't the enemy. Fear of the unknown is the enemy. It's sneaky, and it's convincing you to stay in your comfort zone, even when that comfort zone is not serving you anymore. And for so long, I let that fear win. But not anymore, my friends. Now, maybe your unknown isn't RV life. Maybe it's starting a business, or going back to school, or moving to a new city, or finally sending that text to your crush. Whatever it is, the fear feeling is the same. Your brain is like, that's way too risky. No way it's going to work. Now go back, sit on your sofa, and finish that episode of Two Broke Girls and take notes this time. Seriously, I felt that way too, but I chose not to stay stuck there. And to help you get unstuck, I spent a lot of time trying to understand the process that I went through to take my own leap of faith. And I created a fear-busting workbook. Breaks it down into manageable steps. This approach really did help me understand my fears and put them into perspective, and take actual physical steps towards my dream. So no matter what, you are the only human who can decide to go after your own dreams. But I truly believe this guide can help you dig a little deeper and put your own fears into perspective. So if you're interested in taking the first step to chase your own dreams, there's a link for my workbook in the description below. So please check it out. Now, let's talk about why the unknown feels like it's out to get us. Honestly, I think it's less about what might happen and more about how our brains react to uncertainty. For me, stepping into RV life brought up 3 major roadblocks, and they were loud. The first one is that I wanted control. I wanted to plan every single detail of my RV adventure before I even thought about starting. Where am I going to park every night? How will I find Wi-Fi that works? What if the rig breaks down in the middle of nowhere and I have to fight off coyotes with a broom? And do I even have a broom? My brain was convinced that if I couldn't predict every scenario, then clearly this was a terrible idea. And the truth is, the need for control is exhausting. It totally kept me stuck in analysis paralysis. I was thinking about everything, but doing absolutely nothing. Second roadblock was I was overthinking everything. The deep, dark rabbit hole of RV research. I'm talking hours spent Googling things like how to survive an RV blowout. What happens if the black tank overflows? And what exactly is a black tank? Can you parallel park a 40-foot house on wheels? I literally thought research would prepare me for the unknown, but all it did was overwhelm me. My brain said, you don't know enough to start, when really no amount of research would have ever made me feel 100% ready. Noah Kagan wrote a little book called $1 Million Weekend. And yeah, it's basically a business book, but his approach to business can totally be useful in everyday life. And if you're not familiar, his basic approach and motto is now, not how. I remind myself of that every single day. Third roadblock, I totally doubted myself. There was this little voice in my head whispering, what if you can't handle it? What if you're not cut out for RV life? What will you do if you fail? It was like my fear and my self-doubt teamed up to convince me that staying in my comfort zone was literally the only option. And kind of for a while, I believed them. But here's the thing. My roadblocks weren't external. They were all in my head. And that's really the sneaky part about the unknown. It convinces you that you're not ready when the truth is, no one feels ready for something they've never done before. The turning point for me wasn't some grand revelation. It wasn't like I woke up one day shouting, let's conquer the unknown. Nope. It was more of like a quiet moment where I just asked myself, what's really scarier? Stepping into the unknown or staying stuck in a life that literally feels like it's slowly suffocating you? And honestly, that question was the beginning of it all for me, because the reality was I already knew what staying stuck looked like. I'd been living it for 10 years. But the unknown, it might be messy, unpredictable, and downright scary, but it also held the possibility for something better. It's like that Sugarland song, there's gotta be something more, which just so happens to be the background music playing in my personal movie in my head. And it's also become the motto of my entire existence. I realized that I didn't need to have the whole roadmap figured out. I literally just needed to take the next step and then the next one. For me, that kind of meant researching beginner-friendly RV tips. Apparently, not all campgrounds have dump stations or sewer hookups. Good to know. Planning short, low-pressure trips to test the waters. Step 1, drive around the block. Step 2, survive driving around the block. And learning to laugh at myself when I made mistakes. Here's a pro tip. Turn wide, or you're going to be taking that sign on the corner along for the ride. I also had to let go of the idea that everything needed to go perfectly, which, to be honest, is still one of my biggest roadblocks. And it's one that's worth creating an entire video about on its own, because we all know that things never go perfectly. I mean, my first trip wasn't some Instagram-worthy RV adventure. It was clunky, awkward, and full of, oh crap, I didn't know that moments. But guess what? I survived. And every small win since then has given me way more confidence to tackle the next challenge. The turning point wasn't about eliminating fear. It was about moving forward with it. Here's the thing that no one tells you about the unknown. The things that you're most afraid of, they usually don't even happen. In fact, the amazing things that do happen, they typically end up being more fabulous than you ever could have imagined. Here's some basic examples. I thought that I would get stuck driving on one-lane roads in the dark, heading towards a dead end. The reality, well, that did actually kind of happen, but I did learn that using good old-fashioned maps and tips from truck drivers can make that drive way more fun and way less scary. I also learned how to 3-point turn a 40-foot fifth wheel, which I'm pretty sure I would have never chosen to do if I didn't have to. Another example, I thought that I would hate being far from my daughter. The reality is that girl calls me 20 times a day, and we actually talk way more now than we ever did before living in the same house. Plus, she comes to visit often, especially when I'm near a beach. And a third example is that I thought people would judge me for leaving a stable job and a home that I didn't have to maintain. The reality is, most people said, and still say, I wish I could do that. The unknown taught me that I am a lot more capable than I ever gave myself credit for. I've learned to troubleshoot problems, adapt to new situations, and totally laugh at the ridiculous moments. Like, for example, the time I replaced my RV fridge with a residential version, and during the move in, it got stuck in my hallway for a day or so, making it very difficult to use the bathroom. Which, by the way, I did make a video about the 3 biggest mistakes I made in the beginning. So if you want to check it out, it's up here. I'm also going to leave a link in the description below, and it is okay to laugh. I still laugh about those mishaps. Here's the real deal. Every time that we overcome a challenge, we build grit. We feel a little braver, a little stronger, and a lot more excited about what's still ahead. Now, I personally wake up every single day ready to embrace these unknowns, and I love not knowing what's coming next. It's kind of like living in a choose your own adventure book. The fear of the unknown has turned into excitement about what could be. The unknown isn't the scary monster I thought it was. It's where all the great stories start. It's where you find freedom, growth, and all the things that you didn't know you were capable of. And honestly, the unknown has taught me more about myself than staying in my comfort zone ever did. So if you're standing on the edge of the unknown, wondering if it's worth it, I can promise you this. It is 1000% worth it. So my friends, what is your unknown? A big move, a career change, maybe RV life? Whatever it is for you, I want you to know that you do not have to tackle it alone. And I did create that 7-day fear busting workbook to help you get started on your journey of kicking fear to the curb and leaping headfirst into your unknown. The link is in the description below, and the proceeds, I may add, go directly into a fund to help further this crazy random journey and share all the amazing stories along the way. Also, if you're curious about RV life and you're wondering, how do I even start? Check out my other video on how to choose your first rig. I'll put a link in the description for that below as well. It's helpful, trust me. And if you're ready for more adventures, inspiration, and really just plain old fun, then don't forget to smash that subscribe button and help me grow this community of epic next chapter authors. And one last reminder before you go, you do not need to have it all figured out to start. You just need to be willing to start, and definitely capable of laughing a lot along the way. So my friends, cheers to an epic next chapter that's totally worth living on the New York's bestseller list. See ya!